because there would be no reason for Jim Rome lest there be someone else to talk about. Because Jim Rome can't talk about himself because he's done nothing. He hasn't competed. His name doesn't appear up in the Hall of Fame. He's not in a championship team. He doesn't have any Super Bowl rings. So when you look at those people like that, you have to take that with a grain of salt.
I guess that's us too, Bang.
He had a monster tour stop in Phoenix. A monster tour stop.
We'll see you in C-Bus.
Right. Jim Rome. Monster tour stop. We're going to spend the next 45 minutes for me talking about the monster tour stop.
The jungle was representing.
Jesus Christ. You know, the fabulous sports babe went away in due time. Can't this guy just fade off?
He keeps staying, man.
He sucks.
I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, they're gonna continue on here. You know, it's all about the undefeated season still. I mean, it's still going on.
Of course.
With Mercury Morris, so here we go.
To take offense is to give offense. But the question is, why would this individual, after when the Colts went 13-0, and then they went down in flames, I specifically remember that individual saying, "Oh well, that record will never be broken. They'll be giving Bob Greasy Geritol with the champagne, and his son will be giving it to him." Now that was called resignation. So he was resigned to the fact that no one would ever break that record, and that was 2 years ago. I guess happiness is a short memory because now all of a sudden this punk wants to get right in the middle of what we did. We are gracious to the fact that there were two endings to that commercial. One would be if the Giants won, and it was about the Giants giving accolades to them from the only other unbeaten team, and at this point, it is the only unbeaten team still. And we had another ending that we gave the Patriots the same respect. The problem is, in order for your ending to show up, you had to win the game. So
okay, so they made a commercial,
right?
And they made two different commercials: one if the Giants won, and one if the Patriots won.
Right, and which has absolutely nothing to do with respecting either, but plenty to do with marketing.
Exactly. So Rome saw the one commercial and went, "Oh, look, they made a commercial like that."
Now, you know what?
But Rome obviously didn't know they had made two commercials.
I don't know how he didn't, because I didn't pay attention to too much of the pregame leading up to the game, and I knew it because I had heard Mercury Morris on something somewhere saying it prior to the game.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what, for somebody that's as insignificant as Jim Rome, Mercury Morris remembering something as insignificant as what he said 2 years ago about the Dolphins, finally, about the Colts going down. Boy, that's pretty insignificant, Merc.
I know you wonder.
Pulled that one out.
I know you wonder.
I'm wondering. If I'm Jim Rome, I'm sitting back going, awesome. They're remembering 2 years ago.
The moon has no light.
Uh-huh.
The moon. There's no light. Awesome tour stop.
That's part of it that I think that is missing from this punk's repertoire of what he's actually.
That's part of what's missing from this punk's repertoire.
War, Mercury Morris.
Hey, Jim Rome, you punk, what you got in the repertoire today?
It'll take him a half an hour to say it.
Well, let me look down in here.
You know who else is bad with that? Colin Cowherd. I tell you what, you get in the car for 10 minutes while he's on, he will repeat himself 14 times.
Because he has nothing to say.
He doesn't. He'll say the same thing over and over and over again.
Because he can't
Me
think
and my
of
wife
anything
laugh,
else
man.
to say.
Anyway, continue with Mercury Morris. I must say, he's laying it on the line to Jim Rome. Now, you remember when Jim Rome laid it on the line to Jim Everett? What happened?
Oh, yes.
Maybe we could see Mercury Morris dusted up with Jim Rome.
Actually knows. I'm not concerned about what Jim Rome says or Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Terry Bradshaw did say something to Merc, because Terry Bradshaw, even in the pregame show, talked about, boy, I wish...
Spit it out! The what?
Pregame.
The word is show, you idiot. You're on a show right now.
Oh, my God.
You used to do a pregame show. Oh, Pochi. Oh, what? A show?
I am quite an athlete, period.
Those were like the synopsis from Veteran Stadium's Turf in His Head, firing just a little off right there.
Pregame
Couple of little cocaine flakes up there in his cortex blocking a few things.
All right, let's continue on.
If we could just give this trophy to the New England Patriots right now so we don't have to hear those whatever in Miami. Why do people have a problem with you guys wanting to remain the only undefeated team?
Sour grapes. Terry Bradshaw was the last head we stepped on to get to the 17 and up.
They stepped right on ahead and went to the Super Bowl. That's why my head is shaped like that.
Terry Bradshaw was the last head we stepped on to get to the 17 and up.
Hey, I'm serious. You've seen Young Frankenstein, right?
Yes.
Okay. Young Frankenstein, the monster in that movie, when you watch that movie, look at Peter Boyle's head. It looks just like Terry Bradshaw's head. He's got the big brow and that baldness that sprouts off the side of his head. Jeez.
Is that what happened to his hair, Mercury?
Pardon me?
Is that what happened to his hair?
Hey, you know what? I don't know what happened to his hair. I guess thinking too much has caused that problem in him. But what I say about Terry Bradshaw is I remember that game. We played up in Pittsburgh, an AFC championship on the road. And it was a tough game, but we beat them in their own house. You know, the boys seem to have problems with getting beat. And I think that was the quintessential concept. And every time we come up, it's automatic that the road to the championship came right through his living room.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. And, I've never been clear as to why that was. Why, if they were undefeated, did they have to play in Pittsburgh?
That I don't get.
I've never understood that. There's a reason behind it, and it would probably only take me 10 seconds to look it up. And I've never taken the time to look it up, and I'm sure somebody will send me the answer right away, I'm sure. So, yeah, why did they play that game in Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
So
I was on the radio or media or what do you call it there, and
wait.
What on the radio or whatever they call it there in Pittsburgh?
I was on the radio or media or what do you call it there, or media or radio or media or what do you
Whatever you call it there. Well, it's because it's not radio in Pittsburgh, Tom. Did you know that? Back in the 70s, what would happen is they would get up on top. You've seen that cable car thing that goes up the side of the mountain, right? Well, at the top of that is where the radio station was, okay? And they would go in and they would interview these guys, and then they'd tell Cope what he said, and Cope would go stick his head out the window and go, "He said they're gonna bet the Steelers ass!" And that was how. And now here's a word from our sponsor. And he'd yell it across the valley. "Hey, Myron, get me a beer. Get it yourself, you lazy bastard."
All right, let's get
Uncle Marvin, how you doing?
Let's get back to this. Come on.
Okay.
I must have done about 25 or 30 interviews, and the ones that I had who wanted to be combative, I disarmed them because their opinions count for nothing when they can't stand the scrutiny of the examination of the facts. 1972 Miami Dolphins were number one in offense, number one in defense, number one in special teams, fewest giveaways, most takeaways, least penalized. We scored the most points. We gave up the least.
Yeah, the one thing he forgot to mention is, and we had the easiest schedule in the history of football.
Well, now let's be fair. It was the second easiest.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was number 2. He's not living in Perfectville on that one.
You got to go get your own mountain, because we already own this one.
Yeah.
I have disarmed you. Gee Willikers, you have no more weapons.
Gee Willikers.
I am a kung fu master. Jesus Christ, he kicked the gun right out of my hand. All right.
We ran
All right.
7 out of every 10 times. 2,000-yard rushers, first time in history, broke the 36-year-old rushing mark, falling just 40 yards short of 3,000 yards rushing in a 14-game season. We played 11 games without our starting quarterback. We won 15 straight games in a row, and we played the AFC Championship on the road and beat Pittsburgh in their own house. And then we were underdogs in the Super Bowl. The reason why is because nobody believed it could happen then. What fool in his right mind would take a team that finished statistically team-wise, not like how many touchdowns you had, or not like how many passes you caught, what did your team do? But you see, if you don't know what that means, it's like a movie star talking to Ray Charles. I can tell you about it, but you're just not going to get the picture.
You just ain't gonna get the picture, Tom.
What fool?
Well, any fool that would take Ray Charles to the movies, for one thing.
It's like a movie star talking to Ray Charles. I can tell you about it, but you're just not going to get the picture.